Welcome to another episode of Talk About Bupkes. I am the host of the Bupkes and the Secretary General of Words of the Bupkes, Noah Chuchovich. We have a very, very special episode today. We are joined by Shahd Alnaami, a writer, a student living in Gaza, a student of literature, experiencing the horrors of what is happening in Gaza firsthand. We are so humbled and happy and pleased that she can join us today. And also joining us is Raz Marcus. There are many people who might be mistaken to think that the Bupkes is just a one-person show, but that's of course impossible to do the Bupkes alone. Nobody does anything alone. Raz is joining us as our producer and will be on this conversation as well. So Raz, thank you very much for joining, and Shahd, of course, to you. Thank you so much for your time.
It's my honor to be here today, so thank you for having me.
Yeah, and just some background. The Bupkes was connected to Shahd through our previous episode. If you didn't get it, you should definitely go back and listen to Manus Carlisle, the press person or a press person for the left in the European Parliament, and he was gracious enough to give the Bupkes a copy of Shahad's collection of writings about her experience, full of hope, but also, of course, full of tragedy and really horror, of writings of Gaza from 2024. And this is available. Maybe, Shahd, you can tell us a little later about where people can get this, where people can find your writing and read about you. And this allowed the Bupkes to get in touch with you, and that's how this conversation was able to start. So very much a tip of the hat to Manos for helping make this connection happen. Shahd, maybe we can just start. I mean, it's overwhelming to talk to you now live in Gaza. Maybe you can just tell us a little bit about your day-to-day life, like where you are right now. What is your life right now? Where are you sitting? Just some basic understanding so the audience can understand a little bit about your situation.
Of course, I'm living um, at my uncle's roof after the destruction of our two homes. We lost two homes, and now we are living in my uncle's roof. You could say it's half of it is about a tent, but yeah, thanks God we still have a place to have. Um, I'm here today talking from Gaza, from the bottom of Gaza. I'm now at the middle area. Um, I'm also a student. I'm continuing my education online after destroying my university. We paused for a year at the beginning of this genocide, but then we felt there is a need to continue. While I really hate studying online. I deeply hate it. But there is no other choices. So I'm trying to fit in this new position that we have now. Um, I hate it for very simple reasons that there is no real connection between me and my professors, my doctors, and as a distinguished student. I always have questions and would have a conversation, a thoughtful conversation with them. So I'm really struggling to find these things during this time. And I really appreciate that our doctors and professors are giving us time for this, but it's not enough for me. They are living in tents as me, they are struggling, they are trying to survive. Everyone here is trying to survive. About every day is a battle. We woke up without knowing if we will continue this day or not. We don't know what the future is heading to us. But what I'm sure about that is nothing lasts forever, not even pain or suffering. So I really hope deeply hope that this will end soon, inshallah, and everything will gonna end as possible as it could be, because every day we are losing lives. Just yesterday, we lost our neighbor while he went to get some aid for his little children. And I really can't forget the screams and the crying from his wife and his daughters. What a pain that we are living this every day, every minute, and we don't know who else we gonna lose before this end.
Can you tell us a little bit about your situation with electricity and internet and food? Are you able to get what you need, or how does that work?
If you asked me this question before a week, my answer will gonna be different. But alhamdulillah, now we have the basic things, which I'm really like. I feel that there is something weird while I'm saying that we have the necessity, while this is should be without asking for this. Before a week, we really struggled to find a meal, to have even a piece of bread. It was so hard. Like, I felt that I'm so lucky to have a loaf every 3 days to eat. We were depending on a plate of rice for lunch. There was no breakfasts, and a very little days that we have dinner. It was a very dying days, and we lost so many lives because of this famine and starvation that we went through. But now there is some little things that enter strip. So I feel that, yeah, the situation is improving, and I hope that this continue to improve. I wish that we will never go through the phase that we was in before a week. It was like I was not able to focus on my studies. I was not able to do anything once I stand up. I feel that I'm not able, I'm gonna to break down. Everything was unbelievable. It was so hard. Everything was so hard. But yeah, now everything is improving, and I'm so thankful for this, and I hope that this continue to improve more and more. There is no electricity from the beginning of this genocide. I don't remember the last time that I saw a light. So hard even to charge our phones, our laptops. uh it's a struggle to do this, and even the internet connection. And I hope that it will not fails me this time.
Now, we're so
But
happy just to be able to have this connection. I mean,
yeah,
we weren't sure if it was going to be possible.
yeah. So yeah,
Shahd,
everything here is about a fight to get.
Shahd, there's so many questions I would like to ask you. And one of the things that I want to start with, if it's okay, is um, especially while you're speaking about the very dire situation of electricity and basics, I was very moved by one of the pieces that you wrote because your work, your writings have been featured in many sites, not just in the book that Noah shared, but also on Al Jazeera, on Mondo Vice, on We Are Not Numbers. Um, and I can't recommend enough to our listeners to check out Shahd's writing. Um, which we will share as well. But one of the pieces that you wrote in Al Jazeera was about your relationship with the written word and with writing, with books, with libraries. And one of the most touching things that you wrote was about how the respect for literature and books is something that has been so important in Palestinian culture. And you've seen maybe only a small change in that because people have been forced to, in some cases, use whatever they can find to create fire for cooking, etc. Um, but if I may, I wanted to give you a chance to talk about, because as a writer and a literature student, um, you have such a love for words and for books, and I saw myself in that too. And when you spoke about the first time that you went into the Maghazi library when you were a child, and I wanted to just give you a moment to talk about that. Something that I also wanted to read to our audience, if I may, was you wrote that the attacks on Gaza's libraries are targeting not just the buildings themselves, but the very essence of what Gaza represents. They are part of the effort to erase our history and prevent future generations from becoming educated and aware of their own identity and rights. The decimation of Gaza's libraries is also aimed at destroying the strong spirit of learning among Palestinians. The love for education and knowledge runs deep within the Palestinian culture. Reading and learning are cherished across generations, not just as means to acquire wisdom, but as symbols of resilience and connection to history. So, could you talk a bit for us about your determination to continue your education, what books, libraries, education means to you, and how you're managing to cope with that under unbelievable circumstances?
I love books. I adore books. And this is something that is inside every Palestinian Gazan home. You will find in each family that there's someone who is absorbed with books and reading and searching and being like there you feel that there's inside us there is a need to learn, to search about things, to know where the information is from, not just to take the information as it is, to search deeply about everything, to know the very small details. So this is something I feel that this is something unique about Palestinians, especially Gazans, because you know that Gaza is from a very long years and ages, but this does not prevent us from being educated, and this what makes us more connected with books and learning, uh, because I'm 21 years old. I never traveled before, but I feel that I had a chance to do this through reading it and through books. I traveled many times in my imagination. I visited a very different places. So this is the power that I felt in books and in reading. And this is what I'm trying to transfer in my writings, to deliver a message that is filled of hope and of beauty. I'm trying my best to be closer to the reader, to make him feel that I'm beside you. I'm telling you the story and instead that you are reading my words. So I hope that I'm succeeding in this. Um, because this is my main goal, to document our daily lives, the people that we have lost, because they are never just numbers. They had lives, they had dreams, they had a very beautiful life to live, even though it was so simple. But we really enjoyed our lives, and we hope that this genocide never came, and we continue to live our simple life that we really enjoyed, that we never asked why this is happening to us. And we were doing our best to enjoy every moment we have. So this is the beauty that we had inside ourselves, and I'm trying to turn it to words. So that's why I feel that I'm so connected to libraries, and I feel so sorry for losing so many libraries that destroyed during this genocide. And I know that the occupation, the brains before the souls. Uh, but let me tell you that they didn't succeed this, because I noticed that during the genocide and the lack access to the internet, and there was a lot of periods that there was pause without even signal or internet connection. At these periods, I saw how many people that were trying to read and educate themselves by themselves. In our neighborhood, I have all my cousins around me, so we all collected the books that we have. Like, you will find in every home a very small libraries. Everyone has him or her own library. So we all collected our books and created a neighborhood library in one of the homes, and we started to borrowing the books. We, like, for myself, I read in a month 10 books, which is something I never did in my life. But during the cut of the internet connection, we find ourselves um, drawn into words and into books, and living so much beautiful, small, simple moments while we're reading and trying to do something useful in our time. So there's always a way to learn and to read and to have access. And I was so happy to see that all of us finished all the books that we have collected in that library. And it was a very enough number to makes me feel that, yeah, this is not gonna be succeeding in targeting brains. We are becoming more aware of this, and this is something also that I feel nowadays, the awareness that we have reached um, of our Palestinian case never have been like this. And I'm sure that if there was the same awareness in 1994, 1984 during Nakba, that this genocide never have been. And I'm sure that we maybe would living in a free Palestine. The need of the feeling of the need that we should be documenting everything that happening to us. I'm sure that this gonna lead us to something bigger in the future, inshallah. So I'm very hopeful from this point.
the everything you say about the connection to literature, the connection to reading, just reminds me of, I think, every Palestinian, or even broader speaking in the Arab world, that I've ever met, which is even 10-year-old children are deeply aware of the literature and of writing, and can recite like Mahmoud Darwish poems, for example. Like I've run into 12-year-old boys on the street here, uh, and you get to talking to them, and on one hand they're just silly boys, and on the other hand they can also tell you deep, deep connections to the literature culture, which I think is so impressive, so much more than you don't expect from some kinds of children. So I find that connection to literature and the written word really something, an example to follow, and to read 10 books in a month is also a great goal. So well done for that. Roz, I think you had you wanted to talk had some questions about more about the books.
Yes. Well, there are a couple questions. One of my first questions is just, I'd love for you to tell us, Shahd, about some of your favorite books and some of the books and literature that has been the most meaningful to you. That's one question. And then I have another question, because I wanted to ask about, I understand that you did not have the chance to study with Dr. Rifat Al before he was killed by the Israeli forces, but I believe he was a professor at your university, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and he, of course, was an eminent writer and professor, but also was the founder of We Are Not Numbers, I believe, and where some of your writing has been published. And he spoke so often in his life for decades, about the power of storytelling and the power of learning other languages, um, and being able to communicate how, just as the name implies, you are not numbers. None of us are numbers. We're human. We're all human beings. And to be able to tell your stories to the world. So I was wondering if you could talk to us a bit about some of your favorite books, but then also tell us what your connection with the storytelling is. You spoke about the importance of documenting what you're going through, and what you think the power of that is going forward in telling the stories of Palestine and Palestinians.
One of the books that I have read recently is called They Called Me a Lyonese. It's by Ahd Tamimi, and she was telling her life and what happened to her from a very young age. And I do remember that I recognize her with the bravery that she had, and her strong voice, and she never have a fear of standing in front of a soldier and telling him that you are not belonging here. So her book is one of the amazing books that I have read. Actually, I heard it because I don't have time now to read. I should read my classes and notebooks and study. So I steal a very small moments in my day to hear some books. So I hear the book and I really enjoyed hearing it, and I am planning to read it again. So yeah, I do recommend this book so much. And for Dr. Rifat Al, may his soul rest in peace, he didn't teach me, but he do actually. Let me tell you how. Uh, First of all, I had so many connection with him. We had conversations, and something funny that I used to did with my friends, that whenever we walk through classes when we were at the university before the genocide. And we saw him teaching a class. We could just from outside to watch him teaching, and we really was absorbed with his style and his way of teaching, and I was really eager to be one of his students one day, but I hadn't this chance in reality. But even if he now is not between us, but he taught me so much. Last semester uh, online, I had a poetry course, and it was with his doctor, the doctor of the Dr. Rifat Al he taught us that course, and in an honor to Dr. Rifat's soul, we studied all his YouTube videos that he was posted online. So it was such a pleasure and enjoyment to watch and study from these lectures. I learned so much from him, and I really wish that I had a chance to be in his class one day and to discuss more things with him, but yeah, they stole him from us. Um, so I do really believe in the power of storytelling and how much it's important and how it changed so many lives. And I'm experiencing this while I'm seeing my writings is reaching more and more people. I could say now it's really globally spread. It's everywhere. I'm every day receiving messages from different people from different countries that they would like to help me in sealing the zine and to make sure that this is reaching more and more people, because this what I'm feeling that is gonna change something. I believe in this. As a writer and my friends around me, I feel that we doing something in documenting these stories and to make sure that they are um, received from people. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy to see this, to see how much this powerful skill that we have changing so many lives, changing so many perspectives. And there is a shift from the narration, the narrating story. At the Nakba, the Israeli narration was the most prominent and um, that was seen in that time. But now it's no longer like this. Now I could feel how much this narration changed to the Palestinian case and to Palestinians. And like, look at your country, where you live, and how many demonstrations happened every day, and how many people get out in the streets and screaming of a free Palestine, which is something never happened before. So this is the power of the storytelling that we have did and we are still doing and we will do until we will see a free Palestine. This is what leads us to this. Maybe it's now a very small little steps, but it will lead for something. It will lead to something in the future. I feel this.
And I would think for sure the stories of all the people who have been destroyed in this, they carry on through your work. You continue telling the stories of those who can't speak for themselves anymore, in a way. Um, I'm very curious because the Arabic literature is so rich and there's so much you can read. And we would love to get a reading list from you that we can share to our audiences about books and works of writing that you would like to recommend, whether it's in Arabic or translated to English or other languages. What interested you, though, in pursuing English literature? There's so much that you can read and learn from Arabic, and yet you are very interested in English literature and translation. It's what you're studying at the Islamic University of Gaza. Um, I'm very, very curious about your interest there. Maybe you could tell us more.
I have learned Arabic from a very young age. It's my mother tongue, but when I have reached to university and I have the choice of choosing a major for myself to study at the university, I was between two choices. One of them is journalism, and the other one is English literature and the translation. Um, I feel that I should be um, aware of this language because it's the language of the world. I could be connecting with anyone in this world through this language. Um, Arabic is one of the most hard learning languages, uh, but it's so beautiful, I should say.
Not
But
but and, not but and, right? It's not, it's difficult and it's beautiful, not but.
um, so English could connect me with the whole world. This is my way to convey my message through English. I will not be able to do this in Arabic, and this is why I'm trying to also um, taking translation courses to be able in the future, inshallah, to translate some literary Arabic works because they are so much rich, and we should transfer this to English to make um, more and more awareness and to raise so much questions in people's heads to make them uh, not as just receptions of the information that they have, because it's so easy to distract them with some propagandas and to do anything that people is so easily distracted. So there is a very need, a big necessity to transfer this richness in Arabic language to the English. This is my way to travel in the world through my writings. Um, so that's why I choose English literature and translation, and hopefully that I will be in somehow experiencing journalism one day, because it's something that I really adore and love always to be in some positions. I used in the school to engage in many competitions and lots of things that um, get the small journalist inside me out of the world. So yeah, hopefully that I could be in something like this in the future.
So I think Raz and I have both been journalists for a very long time, so we can say with confidence that I think what you're already doing, living your day-to-day life, expressing and explaining your day-to-day life, is already a kind of journalism. So I think you're already somewhat there.
I
to
couldn't
start
agree
with.
more. I couldn't agree more. You are bearing witness and documenting the experience, which is some of the highest responsibilities of journalists, and you are fulfilling them. So I can't agree more with what
Yeah.
you've said.
So one question I have again about the English literature that I find so difficult is, on one hand, English is such a dominant language in the world, and I think you're absolutely correct that if you want to connect with the world around you, the bigger world around you, you have to be able to engage in English, for better and for worse. It's just the way it is. Um, but also that language and that is connected, and the literature, the history is connected to society and to decisions and to policies that are also helping destroy your life and livelihood. And I wonder if there's a difficulty there for you to, on one hand, engage in the culture and to really love the literature, while at the same time, the English speaking world uh, has done so much harm in this current situation that you're facing. Is there a difficulty there, or are you able to separate those things?
Of course, I should be able to separate between this, because if I have never learned English and I stuck with that they are destroying us, I maybe would not be here with you today. So, what I'm trying to focus on is that uh, I have the ability uh, on focuses what I want to take from this. For example, like I'm taking a pre-course this semester, so I'm really trying to figure out so much things and relate them to the Palestinian case and culture, and try to make some connection between this. So I'm sure this is what I feel that is there is a benefits from this. I'm trying to reach more and more people with their language, but in a way that connect them to the Palestinians, which is I'm so enjoying doing this. So that's why I feel that you could sometimes separate between things and make the most benefit from what you want to do. Um, because if I just stuck with that, they are destroying me, they are stealing my life, they are prevent me from being alive, I will never ever reach the point that I have reached today. So I'm really grateful that I took this decision to study English and English literature in specific, because I'm able to speak with the people in their language and relay so many things um, on their perspectives, but dragging them to my perspective in the same time.
Thank you for that, Shahd. Indeed, there's so much loss that you have experienced and continue to experience. And if it's okay, I'd like to talk about two people very close to you who you've written about, if you feel comfortable. Um, I would love to speak about your sister Rahaf, who was 13, I believe, when she was killed on December 28th last year in an explosion of an Israeli bombing that destroyed your neighbor's home and yours as well. And your best friend Iman Abdelraham Kamon, who was 18 when she was killed a year before, on December 22nd, 2023. Um, what would you like the world to know about your sister Rahaf and about your best friend Iman? Would you like to talk about them?
I really feel that when I want to speak about them, I feel that I'm lost in words. I don't find words to really express how painful this is. Um, the first shock for me was Iman. It was after 2 months of the beginning of the genocide. It was the biggest shock in my life that I have experienced, and I didn't knew about that until the next day. My family tried to not tell me about that because they knew how much a man close to me, and I really struggled so much after her martyrdom, and I struggled to transfer my emotions and to express them. It took me 7 months until I opened my notebook and decided to write anything that come across my head. I wrote about her life, her dreams, our friendship, and I end up with a very heartbreaking, painful article, and I shared it with my friends, and they encouraged me so much to publish that. I hesitated at the beginning, maybe like I felt that I don't want, but then I realized that this is the something that could help me in going through this. So I published that, and it was the beginning, the beginning of my writing journey. Um, so it was July 2024. I used always to write for myself, to document my life, to write my diaries, but I never thought that I should publish them. But now I feel that there is a necessity to share them because the whole world should know about them, should learn about them, because they are not just souls disappeared. They are human beings that they had one day dreams, a family that loved them, friends that cared about them. Um, so that's why I started, and that's why I'm continuing to do this. The losing of my sister is something that until this moment I'm not able to not accept this, but to believe this. I really feel that I'm living a very bad nightmare from the beginning of this genocide, and every night I wish that when I woke up, that this nightmare ends and everything returned as if nothing happened, and all our beloved people are around us. Um, so yeah, it's a pain, a silent pain that is hurting so much, and it will. I don't think that it will heal one day. I don't think so, because they had so much dreams and we all had plans to do together, and then in 1 second they disappeared without even last goodbyes. So yeah.
You say it's like a nightmare, and I think that Roz and I we share this nightmare with you, like in a very different way, of course. We're here, you're there, but this feels like a nightmare that just I think all of us are waiting to wake up from, but we know that there is no waking up from it. Um, I won't speak for Raj. She can obviously speak if she sees
I,
things similarly.
I find myself at a loss for words, but I'm very thankful that you are willing to share with us, Shahd, um, the degree of this nightmare that you're living through and how personal it is for you. Um, and I think that I just really I don't even know what to say, but
Yeah.
I'm very humbled that you're willing to share so much about this loss and what this experience is, so that those of us outside in the wider world can try to come to understand what this really means for your life, and your people and your country. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Noah, I think you had some other questions as well about
Yeah. Well, talking
also
about
about what's
this,
been lost.
talking about the nightmare, of course, didn't begin on October 7th. Um, Sometimes when we read in the media here in Europe or in the United States, and there's often a comparison of the way things in Gaza were before October 7th and the way life was in Gaza after October 7th. And for me, it's a cruel joke because it's not like things were good and now things are bad. Things have always been difficult and now it's even that much worse. And so maybe you can help us understand what has changed, how many more levels, uh, of just difficulty and awfulness it is, because I think it's important. It's very easy. I think it's a very normal human thing to think about the past as a nicer time, um, in comparison to the present. It's very easy to be nostalgic about the past and to think that the past was better. And I think it's important to remind people that better and worse in this situation is a very, very difficult um, term. It's a very difficult framing, when things in Gaza have never been a good time. But you live there, and we'd love to hear your experience about that.
And
How
yet
you see that, how you
at the
see between before and after. Yeah, sorry, Russia.
sorry, and at the same time, Shad, what I understand from so many dear friends from Gaza is that there were so many beautiful, meaningful parts of living in Gaza. Um, Not least of which you have outlined in your own work about the libraries and the culture and the richness of Palestinian culture and culture in Gaza. So that's also something we would love to hear about.
Let's classify that we have 10 levels. So the level that was before this, we are living before this genocide, we were in level 4, let's say. So now, like, you could see the difference between levels. Now we are under 0. It's not 0, it's under 0. So the sage, the lake of everything was always affected us, affected our lives. Before the genocide, we were having the electricity, um, 8 hours in every 24 hours. Um, and it's not something that is usual. It's just 9 hours. And we were like, we were complaining about this, and why is this just 9 hours or 8 hours sometimes, or 6 sometimes at some stages. But when this genocide started and we lost electricity from the very beginning week, we felt that we had a grace and we lost it. Like, if you ask someone nowadays about his like what he or she think about electricity before and now, they maybe could tell you, if there was just 2 hours of electricity, we will be so happy and we will be so grateful. So the very little things that we had before this genocide, now we are looking at them like a dreams, a grace that we have, and we never been like grateful for that. And now if the very it was small, now the very little small of it come to us, we will be so happy to that and we will be so grateful for this. So this is why people right now is struggling and feeling that there is a very deep nostalgia for the life before the genocide, because we are now looking at that as the highest dreams of us. And because we experienced this, now we are looking to live this again, and we missing these moments. And something beautiful about people in Gaza, that they, from my experience and people around me, we really used to enjoy every moment we uh we went through. We enjoyed uh everything. Like, I feel, if you ask me, I will let you know that I was looking at my university at the best beautiful university in the whole world. But if you visited that, you may could say that it's very normal, usual, or maybe it's not something that very big as I'm describing to you. Maybe you have more beautiful universities in your country with so much luxury things. But because I never seen this, I was so happy with the things that I have, or I had now. So that's why people were so happy with the things that they have. And in one, everything was stolen, and now they are really wishing that these very little small things come back to their lives, and they will be so grateful for this. So it was not the best perfect life, but I assure you that we were so happy, so confident with that, because we realized that we are not able to change the reality. And it been so much ages and nothing changed. So if we just trying sitting in homes and complaining from everything, we will not reach something. So people decided to enjoy, to feel that they are belonging to something. So the stages that Gaza have reached before the genocide was the most beautiful things that I have ever seen in my lives. There was so much beautiful places. There was so much joy in people's face. Even like if someone tried to get a job, maybe it will be the most um underpaid job for you, but they could feel how much it's so beautiful and I'm having a miracle between my hands. And they were so dedicated to their works, and they were doing so much amazing efforts because they tried to love the things that they have. So That's why now everything, when we lost everything, it's so much hard to accept this. And something funny that we have been told, um, that my grandma experienced Nakba. So she get out from their homes, and they come here to Gaza. So when before the genocide, they used to tell us that you should be grateful. You never experienced what we went through. Uh, don't like stop complaining. Enjoy your life. But now, in these days, we are telling them that we have experienced more worse that what happened to you. So now we are all in the same boat. So yeah, like
What's
so
their
crazy.
response?
So crazy.
What does your grandmother say when you tell her that? Does she agree?
Of course, because she never saw something like this. She's always saying that if we um get out from this genocide alive, it will be such a blessing, and something is uh unusual. Look how we are thinking that being alive is a luxury, and no one is able to reach at this. So if we really survive this, we will. I don't know, because it's the worst thing that happened to the humanity, not just to Palestinians. Um, my grandma says that what happened to them in Nakba is different in levels from what is happening to us nowadays. It's more than words could describe, and yeah, it's so hard.
Yes, I think it is more than words can describe. But, I'm struck, Shad, when I hear in so many of the topics that you've been discussing that despite the unbelievable obstacles that even your grandmother and you and so many people close to you, your reaction is to choose hope and to think of the time when there is survival and think of what it could be when you come through this terrible time. Um, and of course, no people, are all the same. Everyone has the right to choose their own reactions and the way that they choose to see something. But what I'm struck by is the fact that you seem to be choosing hope as your response. You continue to study. You are very, very committed to studying. You are committed to telling the stories of your family, of your friends, of your neighborhood, of your building a community library, of continuing to read, continuing to learn. Um, I just note in everything that you say that there is a response that is hope for the future. Can you tell us more about that?
Of course, of course. Because I realized that hope is not something that we could gain, it's something that we could choose. And it's your job to choose what you want. For me, I chose to live in hope for an end for this. And I deeply believe in this because as I said at the beginning of this episode, that nothing lasts forever, not even pain. And when I think of the stages, the hard stages that I was thinking that I have experienced, I always feel that there is a way to get out from this. So maybe so many will disagree with me at this. Maybe there are people here are not clinging to hope, and they really hate to be hopeful for anything good to happen in the future. But this is what makes me to continue, to keep going, to make achievements. This is what I believe in, and I feel that this, like, I gained this from Gaza, because we are here in Gaza, um, learned how to love and live, and to how give and forgive, and everything around me. This is what I have learned from this city, that there is no dust could stay forever, and there's always a sunrise after the nightmares, and there's always a light after a very long time of darkness. So after experiencing so many wars, my life is about wars, but after experiencing them all, I'm not comparing them with this genocide that we are living now, because it's a very different thing. But I have learned that there's always a way to get out and to survive. And even if I didn't get a chance to survive, I will simply be proud and happy that I have lived a peaceful moment. I will not lie that sometimes when I woke up, I feel that what is the point of continuing, while at this moment maybe a pumping could hit us and we could all die. But I remind myself again that what if I lived so many times uh putting myself in these thoughts and nothing happened, and every time I'm gonna to survive, and I didn't get the use of my time, and I maybe didn't study and didn't continue, and I will be so sad that I have wasted all this time on this. So I really don't want to feel this feeling. So that's why I'm trying to live my moments and to give myself space to feel sad and to be sometimes disappointed, and feel the very bad feelings that I may have. But I'm just giving myself a very specific time for this, and I'm not letting myself to drown in these emotions and feelings, because I know that I will never find an exit from this. So it's just a time to feel this, and let's just continue without looking to the results, with just believing in ourselves, in God, in future, in everything, in the God, in the good things that people hold in their hearts, because I feel that God is still exist, and it's not about cruelty and blood and hatred and all of these black emotions. There is always white, and there is always hope, as my zines said.
it's an incredible outlook that you're able to maintain. I think it's even difficult for people not experiencing what you're experiencing just in their everyday lives. So I think if you can do it, it's certainly an example for the rest to follow. And as you say in your zines, I think that's a transition to some of them. We had discussed when we were planning this if you would read for us some of your work. Of course, we, with your permission, will post some of the things that you've written. We'll put more information into the post of the episode when we publish it. But we'd love to hear something of your choice that talks about everything you just talked about how you try to live with hope and how you try to contain the anger, contain the other more negative and destructive feelings. I think that comes through in your writing. It's very clear. So, with your permission, we would be very happy to hear something directly from you that you've written if you'd like to read us something.
I would love to read the poem that
That's
I
great.
have I have written for Dr. Rifat Al, and it's also giving me a glimpse of hope.
Go for it.
So many of us still hold our phones, read your poems, not losing hope. But we are tired of sleeping in fear, tired of being displaced living in tents, haunted by horrors that linger in our minds, a muscle prized in the silence, burning all the tents, including you. I have not forgotten. Nights become nightmares. Children cry from the cold, their laughter once bright, now a distant echo. We yearn to return, free from fear. When will these bloody nights end? When will this tragedy stop? When will our normal lives return and our distant dreams come true? We keep asking, will this pass? And I remember how you used to say, it shall pass. I keep hoping it shall pass. Still, we wait for the day peace will down and a new chapter opens its pearly eyes.
Thank you so much for sharing that poem with us. I just want to say, Shahd, it's been such a pleasure and an honor to speak with you today. And I know I speak for thousands, if not millions, of people who have seen your work, which again we will share, because you continue to teach us so much about the experience that you are having right now and to help us understand what is really going on in Gaza and in Palestine. So thank you, and I hope that you will be able to continue documenting and sharing with the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor. Thank you for being a hope for so many voices that want to be heard and to continue amplifying these voices and continue to reach more and more people that they are part of building a free Palestine.
Shahd Alnaami, yeah, just to repeat what Roz said, thank you so much for your time. We're so glad this was able to work because we know it's certainly nothing is guaranteed, especially right now. Um, we look forward to sharing your work with others. We will do what we can, as we always do with the Bupkes, to amplify, as you said. I think that's the right word, to amplify your stories and what's happening. And you really are you and your family and your friends, your loved ones are really an example for the rest of us, I think. And I think we can only hope, speaking of hope, I can only hope that we all can somehow meet one day in a better place at a better time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.